of God to fall on you, that you have to turn from your wicked ways and follow God, that you have to repent.
Oh, yes, yes.
That you have to change your mindset. You have to change the concept. You have to change your advantage point. If you expected ever to see the goodness of God manifest itself in your life, you had to repent. There's always a different perspective from every advantage point in life. From the valley, it looks different than it does from the top of the hill. Paul has given us a top of the hill vantage point. So even though you haven't got there, at least you have the perspective while you're trying to climb up the hill.
All right,
and he said that if you want it to be better, you got to be better. If the world won't change, then you got to change. You can't go. There was a small story that came to my mind. There was a guy working for this prestigious company, and they hired him on an entry-level position, and he worked his way up to a supervisor position, which gave him more responsibilities. And in that responsibilities, he was required to maintain some expensive merchandise. And one day he decided, because he was a supervisor, that he had the ability to manipulate the inventory. So he took things out of the inventory. He was stealing. He was stealing, but he was working. He had a job, but he was trying to satisfy some other needs because it wasn't enough income to satisfy all of his debt. So he was stealing. And the supervisors caught hold of this, and they reprimanded him. The first time they said, okay, we caught you stealing. We slapped you on the wrist. Don't do it again. The second time they called him stealing, they say, okay, now, this is the second time. We might have to let you go.
All right.
But his supervisor was empathetic because he says, I understand that he's trying to feed his family. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to promote him. I'm going to give him more money. Even though that he is stole from the company, I'm going to give him more money. So the next time they caught him stealing, they fired him. Because he said, now wait a minute, the first time I caught you stealing, I slapped you on the wrist. The second time I caught you stealing, I reprimanded you and I gave you an increase. Now the third time, now you just don't want to obey any of my authority and you expect to do it on your own. God says, I'm just like that manager. The first time I caught you stealing, I slapped you on your wrist. The second time I understood the reason why you were stealing, because you were trying to feed your family, so I promoted you. The third time I'm just going to have to let you go. Hebrews call it a reprobate mind.
All right.
We expect God to pour out his bountiful blessings on us, but we don't want to change our behavior.
That's right.
We don't want to change our attitudes. We want to be the same way that we was when we first found out who Jesus was. We want all the blessings without any progress. If things got to get better, you'll never see better because you're still in once was. He says, once you move and progress from once was to where I am now, things will get better. It doesn't have to change. It's because your vantage point changed. I still live in the same house, but because my vantage point changed, now the house that I'm looking at looks sufficient enough. Now my husband, he looks sufficient enough. Now my spouse, she looks sufficient enough. Now the income that I have that I barely can make bills, he said, now that's sufficient enough that I can even consider paying my tithes without having to worry about the money that I'm supposed to have left over. He said, when your vantage point changes, then things will get better. My advantage